Hey guys and girls, this is a quick once over to help you get going on your project. So this is for those with an even number of your student number, the last digit, and it's diagram one. I just want to quickly go over this diagram and show you a couple things. It's going to be difficult for me. I might have to highlight some stuff in yellow. But if we take a look at this diagram, what you want to do to start trouble or to start working this into a ladder diagram is identify all the 24-volt loads and identify all the 120-volt loads. So I'm just going to highlight the loads that are 120 volts. This guy here, vent fan is 120 volts, obviously. Blower motor, 120 volts. Igniter, 120 volts. 120 volts, and the last one would be underneath this guy. You'll see a black wire here and a white wire here. That is going to a transformer that is underneath of this guy here. This is your fan center. If you watched my video earlier, you'll see that a fan center has a transformer built into it. This one has a transformer. So that transformer is powered on the primary side with this black and this white wire. And on the secondary side, it is the R and the C. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 items that are 120 volt loads. The next thing we'll want to do is I'm going to get rid of this. Let me see if I can clear this off. Okay, not too worried about it right now. Not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. Okay, the next thing is I want to identify the 24 volt loads. The 24 volt loads are things that work when you do work when you give it 24 volts. Those are this relay contact, the top part of this between what they call H and H. Okay, that's one. Gas valve, that's 24 volt load. This ignition control is a 24 volt load. And I think that's probably it. All the rest are switches. The switches turn on the loads. So we've identified 3 24 volt loads, this relay, this gas valve, and this ignition control, and 4 120 volt loads, which are the transformer, the vent fan motor, the blower motor, and the igniter. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you about this diagram is let's identify the switches. We have a fan switch here that is normally open. We have a limit switch that is normally closed. If you take a look, that limit switch, that R, powers the transformer. So if the limit opens, it cuts the power to the transformer. The fan, when it closes, the black wire is the power coming in. It goes to down here, turn on the blower motor. Sorry, I don't understand. So these are all items that are utilized for 24 volt loads. This is just an auxiliary limit. If it's dotted line, you don't necessarily have to draw it in, although you will have to probably in your diagram draw in a thermostat which has an R and a W and a G and a Y. So this is your thermostat here, right? You don't necessarily have to draw in the cooling contactor, which is between C and Y. The next thing is this is your power coming in. This box here is just a junction box. Wherever you see one of these dots, it's just a MAR connector, a connection of the wires, okay? So if you look at L comes in and goes right down to the door switch. Comes out of the door switch and then goes to 1, 2, 3, 4 different places. The first one is it goes to the ignition control, so the ignition control can turn on the igniter. The next thing is it sends power to this relay here. So when this relay is powered, it sends power down to the vent fan motor, which gets a neutral on the other end, right? The next thing, it goes the black wire, black with stripe, it goes into this fan center, and that fan center will That is so you can get a cooling speed when you turn the air conditioning on. And the last one is it's the black that comes in to feed your limit switch and your fan switch. So if you identify all the loads, you just have to figure out which switches turn on what loads. This diagram's fairly easy to take a look at. Just remember the gas valve is powered by the ignition control. The igniter is powered by the ignition control. If you want to take a look at a good diagram that looks just like this one, sign back into Simugas on the furnace software control and take a look at the ladder diagram. That's a ladder diagram on the furnace software, Simugas, and take a look at that, and it is very close to this one. You could use that as a starting place. The other thing is just to identify all your 120 volt loads or 115 volt loads is the neutral. Neutral goes to the transformer. It goes to the vent fan motor. It goes to the, down here, the igniter. And it also goes to, the last one would be right here, which is your fan blower motor, right? So based on that, I will have a quick little secondary video on how to draw a ladder diagram in its rough base, but this gives you a good idea of what's happening in this diagram. So thank you very much.